Bread. You see, the Japanese tend to go very far with the topics they take on, but just how far can you go with bread? Hold on, how did we even get here? Why bread? We see the other day I was wondering how I could make my own bread, and I was asking all around for anyone familiar with baking bread, and all I got back was, hey bro, maybe you should go back to the 18th century, you absolute buffoon! Loser! Biological tragedy! Was there really no way? And me? I'm no professional bread maker. I'm only a professional bread eater. I didn't know where to turn. I guess there really was only one other way. Just kidding, I went to the bookstore. When, the library sure is nice. And so I set off on my journey down the depths of this crazy world to see how far the bagel hole really goes. I'll be back in a year. In the Japanese Local Bread Encyclopedia by Tatsumi Mook, it shows many of the ways the Japanese have utilized bread to make it their own. From fluffy milk bread with that nice glop of cream in the middle, salad bread with some of that pickled radish and eggs, tanuki bread. I mean, look how fat this dude is! Who wouldn't want to eat a bread based off it? Potato chips and sandwiches are pretty good. So let's just make everything that. But let's combine it with some local cabbage and mayonnaise to create a contrast that can't be forgotten, and hold it all together with a nice soft milk bun that goes right through the soul like it's some sort of blessing. But compared to something like French, German, or English bread, those are pretty obscure. Well, that's what Kazuma Azuma, the main character of this manga, is out to change. You see, since the beginning of time, we humans have loved bread. I mean, just look at every nation and culture across the globe. Each one has a loaf to call their own. There's Jewish challah bread, Indian naan bread, Irish soda bread, even Easter bread. It seems everyone has one. Everyone, except Japan. But this doesn't shake the young Azuma. He uses this as an opportunity to showcase the rich Japanese history, culture, food in one pastry, to unite the Japanese people under one role, to create a bread like France's that is more than just a bread, but a sign of national identity. And even though Azuma knows in his heart that bread can't compete currently with the country's staple, rice, he gets to work on a bread that can. And this bread will be named Japan. Yeah, and so using his genius innovation and the hands of the sun that are really just warm hands that are good for baking, Azuma starts experimenting with all sorts of bread using purely local inspiration. He makes Mount Fuji curry naan bread, rice cake bread, even sushi melon bread, literally anything you can think of. Oh yeah, baby. Can't wait to have this rice. You gotta be kidding me. No rice. Well, other than rice-cooked breads, there are breads in this manga that sing, breads in this manga that dance, that make people dance, do a full arch, fly, and make the page colored. I just need 1 sec. Oh yeah, I forgot to add. Also, go to heaven. Everything surrounding this topic just reinforces my impression that I always get from manga. It really excels at making things we often don't think twice about so interesting. I mean, and right, anything can over-exaggerate a topic and make it fun. So how about the actual world of baking? Let's see, does it have any merit? Does it have anything to it? These were the thoughts I wondered while reading a baking manga where there's bomb threats. So I wanted to see for myself. First, you put the yeast, water, get the milk. Oh shoot. Ooh. It's fighting back. I've never done this in my life. What the heck? Alexa, how do you knead stuff into a box? Bring it out here. I gotta like knead it. Oh shit. Okay, so I'm trying to, knead the bread and stuff, and my f***ing tripod got a little hungry. Okay. So maybe we should leave it to the professionals. Oh,
just for yourself.
Speaking of,
you'll probably be getting up early because it's a process that there's certain things you can't rush. You don't want to get stressed out too much. I know it's silly to say because it's a job, but that's where you'll get the most burns. That's where you'll burn the most bread. You'll mess up the most because you're getting flustered or stressed. Once you use that skill, like you want to do a 300 layer croissant, if you have the skill, you can probably do it.
down the street of my house lies one of Florida's pride and joys, Publix. If you've never had the grace of walking inside a Publix, let me just give you a taste. Right when you walk inside, they've got a whole section dedicated to making custom subs built to your liking. And on the side, you can get an option of crispy golden chicken poppers or perfectly seasoned potato wedges to go with it. And it's, well, also a grocery store, but very valued by us Floridians. If you do anything to demean it, well, it will not end well for you. But most importantly, they have the guest of this video, one of the head bakers at my local Publix, Shane. Shane's been baking for over 7 years and first found his love for the craft when he was transferred from his past barista position to his current baking position. Since then, he's learned many things about the world of baking, and today he was kind enough to share some of it with me. Like, what is baking to you as like just an activity? What is it to you?
One of these skills that it like connects you to the history of like the earth. It connects you to kind of nature in a way, because if you really think about like bread making started once people, settled down and like started growing like crops, and they're like, what do we do with like this stuff? It's just a connection to something that's more than just my like little interest in computers and whatnot.
It's a way bigger world than it seems.
It's been around as long as people had a bowl that they were like, okay, put this in here and we'll see what happens. Like, yeah, because there was all sorts of different peoples and cultures like kind of mixing, and they all have. It's like what I just said. Every group of people has a bread recipe.
Would you describe bread making as an art, or was it like?
Some people say video games aren't art. I played some video games where I would say like, this is definitely work of art. Some stuff I've played where I'm like, this isn't really good, this was just made to make money, but somebody else could say that was art. So I
saw a video recently describing video games as art. It's kind of similar as saying, is architecture art? And he was going through this kind of thesis, but I'll sum it up. Basically, just like a building, you have to build it with the people that are going to be in the building in mind.
Yes, yeah.
And exactly. I feel like that's probably similar with baking.
Yeah.
Kind of makes
including you.
Art, including you.
Like, who are you making it for? Including yourself.
That's why a lot of video games don't feel like art, because it's like they don't really take into account the people playing it. Or a lot of buildings, like they just opened up a new giant metro building in New York, and they didn't put any benches because they don't want homeless people. So it's like, it's kind of super inconvenient for everyone.
Did you make the building for homeless people? Like that's...
all that stuff, because they're like warmer.
Right.
That
could be my hands, because my hands are so clammy.
You have the hands of the sun, bro?
I might.
Dude. Professional baker, what's your number one tip for anyone that will want to get into baking?
Number one tip. This is gonna sound like a really simple tip, but buy some sort of product for burns, like a burn cream, and just have that on hand with some sort of bandage that come off with
first
sweat.
Aid kit.
First aid kit when you first start out, because I've gotten some scars just from getting burned, and ow. Most important thing is to, like, you have to kind of just have this balance of you do need to like hustle and get stuff done, because the process, like when you're mixing and baking, like whether it's if you're doing it professionally, a lot of your product's going to come in frozen. You don't have much time once you set it up. Like I can't just leave it out, you know, I got to bake it. You have to stay calm, but also have some like hustle, get through it. But then also you don't want to get stressed out too much. I know it's silly to say because it's a job, but like stress is like the number one. That's where you'll get the most burns. That's where you'll burn the most bread. You'll mess up the most because you're getting flustered or stressed.
What techniques do you use?
Music is a huge thing for me. You could have your own personal mantras, like tons of stuff if you're into like Marcus Aurelius, like meditation, stoicism, stuff like that, where you can keep mantras in your head from what they've said. Or I just like music, and I just kind of
just vibing while you're cooking up, bro.
Just vibing, because once you get the skill of it, I'm not like sitting there counting cookies. I'm just like, but then if you have that skill, all of that can be compressed, because then the skill is like this whole other brain that just kind of is automatically doing some things for you to where you don't have to think as much.
That's actually what the main character of this manga does a lot, which he'll like, for this croissant, it's like a 300 layer croissant or something, and he'll like but he'll like that'll burn in the oven, so he like uses like the ultra slow cook setting or whatever, like 200. It's crazy how interesting it is, but like he uses all of his knowledge to kind of be creative with a lot of these dishes. And it's like he even at some point uses a rice cooker to cook bread.
You can definitely do that. That's the thing, like it's anything. Once you use that skill, like you want to do a 300 layer croissant, if you have the skill, you can probably do it. That's why people do like gigantic cakes and stuff, 'cause somebody can do it. Anything, like your own business, there's so many concepts that I don't know any bakeries around here that have like cats that walk around. You get to pet cats. Like that's what I would do if I had a business.
How would you describe like bread making to someone like unfamiliar?
It's just like putting together like a puzzle. It's like putting together a puzzle where you need to have the pieces on the edge to hold in the pieces in the middle, but the pieces in the middle for the most part can go in whatever way. You just have to have the right pieces, and if you know how they go together, like you bake it and that's bread.
I relate to that heavy. That's literally the analogy I use for if someone asks me like, oh, what's video editing like, or making videos or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, it's like a puzzle. You kind of just have to, you kind of figure it out as you go. It's only like near the end you get to see the full picture.
Yes.
Dude, that's sick. That's like, there's a lot of like stuff in life that kind of just very similar.
I mean, I guess you could say that's kind of like, that's like our ability as people, where we're given all this stuff, and then it's like, you know, don't jump off the cliff because you'll die, but you want to build a house on there, you can do that. You want to make a whole bunch of cool things on the cliff, you can do that. You want to make a painting of the cliff, you can do that. Like you have all sorts of ways you can do this thing, where, you know, to tie it all the way back, like I just started baking cookies, and then, you know, now can do whatever kind of breads I want, and then you bake it, and then you get to eat it. That's a whole other thing. You don't always get to eat, like you can't like eat a video or like eat a Lego set or something, or a video game, but you get to eat the bread, and that is a sense that nothing else can cover. Like food is the only thing where like you can taste like what you're drinking, what you're eating, and you also can make it. So from the very smallest spice, you have like the full range of senses. I don't know if that's a weird tangent, but
no,
it's just kind of cool. Like,
yeah. Bread making led me down an insane rabbit hole of obscure Japanese breads, insane baking mangas, and an unexpected new friend. High up on this cliff we call our life, there's only a limited window we have up here, so that makes the choices we make all that important. Whatever you choose to do on the cliff will be your life. Maybe you think this is too deep for a bread video, but isn't that the same with everything? Everything tends to be less serious or important from the outside, so we don't often bother to give those things a second thought. In fact, I even had those feelings before making this video. I went into this initially wanting to challenge myself to make something uninteresting interesting, just like the manga. But then I gave the topic a second glance, and I actually started to see this insane world filled with passionate, creative, innovative people. A world filled with unique insight, history, and experiences that cover all the senses. It was when I opened the door that the manga had left open for me, that choice of going deeper, that I found the actual world of baking. Yes, the manga might be super over-exaggerated, unrealistic, and pretty dumb at times, but I don't think the point was to give me bread making at face value. I think the point was to give me just a taste, a feeling that there might be something more, a lingering interest that might make me want to pursue it just a bit deeper. And deeper I went, meeting cool people that shared their vast love and interest for this thing, baking my own bread and feeling that connection to something more, learning about all the insane history and lore behind this one concept. I had stepped into a puddle, and before I knew it, I was submerged in an ocean that was once obscure to me, but was now crystal clear. And all it started with was a second thought. That's all it takes sometimes.